Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. My glad I'm doing this, folks. I had a wonderful, productive week, but exhausting week. And I topped it off this morning with a nice golf game, so you know what, I'm in a good mood. Energy level probably where it should be, so not like last week. Last week was a little bit different. I felt kind of, you know. Right now, I feel like I want to be here. I want to do this. This is my Fountain Pen Therapy, folks. So without any further ado, here is Fountain Pen Therapy's weekly recap for June the 7th, 2025. Okay, so let's start with the first segment. The first segment is my cappuccino. Yeah, I need this. The first segment, we'll take a look at what's in the market. Again, nothing, I don't see anything earth-shattering out there. You know, it's a little bit of, the same things. The Sailor puts out some Pro Gear Slims with different colors. Easterbrook comes out with the same pen with a different resin. Leonardo comes out with the same Momento Zero Grande with different resins, the same bloody nib. Pretty boring stuff, guys. I've got to tell you. I know that Scribble promised that they would come out with some kind of a new model. I noticed there was a new Puma model from Scribble, which is a beautiful pen. But again, it's the same thing. It just rehashed the same thing. That's why I find that in certain ways, the Chinese pen market has got a little more variety to offer us. Yes, some of them come out with the same pen with different colors, etc., etc. But, they come out with one model and they give you the 4 different colors and different resins, and that's it, Yes, sometimes, for example, Mahjong with that P139 has just come out with the black rock model. But I got to tell you, other than that, I'm a little bit disappointed. There's a lot of expensive pens. And by expensive, I mean $1,000, $2,000, which is just beautiful, which are very different. But, that's a little bit out of my range in any event. So anyway, let's take a look at the Chinese market and see what's there. And even there's not much, folks. Not this week. Okay, let me just go to my camera. Okay, first thing, I'm just going to repeat what's out there. The Asvine C2000, I'm really looking forward to receiving this. This is, of course, the ebonite version of the C2000, which and I hope they, with this new model, they've, taken care of any dry nib issues. I don't think they would repeat the same mistakes. So that's something which I find which is okay. Next thing, I saw this Mahjong N12, which is kind of a dip pen, but they offer it along with some nibs. So I think I'm going to order that as just, and I'm going to use it to swatch my inks. So I thought I'd show you that. For those of you who are interested, there you have it. There is this P137, folks. You guys have got to tell me, does anybody have this pen? If they do, it's a little bit, I find it a little bit expensive at $200. I think I've seen it at 180, 190, but not much less than that. I can get it in the hand polished nibs. I can get it in their standard nibs or in their long knife with long knife nibs, probably those lemon nibs. I'm almost pulling the trigger on this, but I'd really like to know from some of you, if you have it, if you think it's worth the $200 Canadian, or what is it, 130 some odd US dollars. Okay. Next, P139. I did want to mention something. I was under the impression that you can get these nibs, and that they came with, and that you can get them with the Bach section or housing. But I was wrong. No, what they're selling is a Bach nib, which I'm assuming will fit the Majon P139. But, you know, at $11, a Bach nib, a number 8 nib, that's really worth it. Now, will this nib fit anything else? Will it fit its normal Bach housing? If it does, $11 is a steal, because even a number 6 sized Bach nib usually runs $20 plus. Maybe I'm going to order it and play around with it and see what happens. But I thought I'd make that correction. I was convinced that somewhere deep there you would be getting a Bach nib with a Bach housing, but there's no housing to these nibs. So there you have it. Clarification was important, and I did so. Just remind everybody that the Pen BBS 556 is out with a series of very nice resins. I think you can get it also in the amber, is it a cat, and you know, those type of specialized resins, but I wasn't able to find it. I've seen some advertising or some posts on Instagram, but I haven't found anywhere where I can actually buy it. There was one pen that really intrigued me, and this one. It's called the Luxury Bernard Shaw Classic, I guess. I don't know who makes this pen. It doesn't appear to be very clear to me which company is behind this. If I see View More, Origin, China, don't see a name here. You know, Light of Hope. If it's Light of Hope, it could be Ongdian, because I think the Ongdian has that description. I can't read Chinese here, so there is reference to Pharos 280. It's just really looks like a really nice pen, but it's $148, and that's why I'm hesitating. And it's discounted at $148. What else have I got for you? Oh, I forgot to mention this last week. This is their new Majon Q3. I don't think I'm going to order this, or maybe I did mention it, but I'm not going to order it because I just not going to write with that kind of pen, and I really don't have any use for it. So, but some of you might be interested in acquiring this new Q3 model. It looks like different colors and also a different clip there, so that may be interesting for you. So that's the Chinese pen market. What have I got for you in the rest? Well, there's this new Leonardo Supernova primary manipulation number 5. I think the resin is absolutely gorgeous, but at 311 euros. So that to me will run me approximately $550 Canadian for a steel Yowo nib. No thanks. I don't care how nice. And this is again Leonardo. It's just it's getting, yeah, they're beautiful resins. Even the aluminum pen, it's going to cost me $500. No, I'm wrong. The aluminum pen would cost me approximately $220. But it's a Momento Zero. It's not even a Momento Zero Grande. In any event, I'm not interested. Frankly, I'm not going to spend that kind of money for a resin Yowo nibbed pen. Next, Gold Spot's got this new paper company and notebook by the name of, I think is new, I've never heard of it, Caratis. And it's got different models of notebook. And when you look at product description, it says that it's Tomo River paper. So these are all 52 GSM Tomo River paper. You get it in lined, dotted, or square, in grid. It's made in Turkey. $39 Canadian for 144 sheets. It's a little expensive. On the other hand, it's Tomo River. But I thought I'd mention it to you guys. I see various notebooks. They have 96 sheets at $21, 144 at $39, and I think they have even a bigger one at even more expensive, 240 sheets at $66. So you know what? It might be interesting for some of you. And at the same time, I wanted to show you this new Pan Am Retro 51 rollerball. Given that I'm paying some attention to rollerballs these days, this might be an interesting purchase. But again, $103 for a Retro 51 rollerball, not sure I will go for it. Anything else? I'm afraid not. That's what I see in the market. I don't see anything more that caught my eye in the event. So there you have it. So stay tuned for my next segment. Be right back. Okay, my next segment. What's new in the fountain pen therapy studios? I keep saying fountain pen studios, and I may always make a mistake, and I only see it during my editing. It's fountain pen therapy studios. There you go. Well, what's new? Well, let's take a look at a few things that I received this week, and including some paper, some inks, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so I'll go to my overhead camera. First of all, let's start with the paper. Paper. Now this, I'm sure for some of you, looks very familiar. I don't have a Traveller's, that Traveller's kind of a notebook series where you put a couple of notebooks together in a leather cover with some elastics. I just don't find any use for it, frankly. But I know that some of you have asked me, can you look at Traveller's, the paper itself, and swatch it, etc., and compare it? So I figured I'd get it just for you guys, because frankly, I don't see myself using this notebook for too long. But maybe I will find a use for it, and maybe I will like it so much that I will change my mind. So there you have it. It's a very simple notebook. I chose, the graph grid. It looks like very nice paper. I was expecting something lesser quality. Very nicely bound. It's got a opening. Does that have an opening credits? I think I just saw something. Yeah. Oh, I see. Traveller's Company. Maybe I will buy a little leather cover with a few of these notebooks. They might come in handy, I guess, when you travel. Yeah? They're not small, but they're not big and cumbersome and don't take up too much space. So anyway, so that will be the notebook that we will that we will swatch, and I will compare it to this Yamamoto Tomo River paper. And I will come back and discuss this paper. Actually, we can discuss it right now. I'm not sure that there is a difference between this and Sanson. But some of you wrote to me, and you spoke of there is if I can look at my notes. Yeah, the original Tomo River was produced with the number 7 machine. The number 7 machine was replaced by the number 9 machine, which is this one. And then everything got sold to Sanson, and now it's Sanson that's producing Tomo River paper. I've got to research it, so I'm not sure there's a difference between the number 7 machine Tomo River the number 9 Tomo River paper, or the number 9 machine, and the Sanson. Really, my real question is there a difference between the number 9 machine Tomo River paper and the Sanson one? My understanding is that Sanson bought the number 9 machine. So I don't know why Yamamoto is putting out a notebook with Sanson written on it and another one with this Tomoegawa. Now, is it really original? I thought that this paper, when I compared it to Sanson, is a little closer to the original than it is to Sanson, but maybe it isn't. If you guys have got an answer, please let me know. But these are the 2 notebooks that I will be using for some swatching. So I'll be right back. I'm going to set up and show you the inks that I propose for this week. Okay, so I'm back with the inks. I got 3 inks from Scribble, Field of Writing. Now, these things are very expensive. These inks are very expensive, and I think it's got a lot to do with the bottle. I wanted to show you the box that it comes in. I've got 3 of them. I actually already have 2, and I purchased this one, which is Blue Capri. I don't know why I never got this one. It comes in with a little description card, fountain pen ink collection, the inks, little information booklet, I guess, but very pretty box. I hope so for the price. And here are the bottles. The bottles are just fabulous. Take a look at that. Isn't that? And they've got a cavity here, and I've got 3 of them. Now, I'll show you the 3 inks that we will be swatching. These are the 2 that I already had in my collection. I had Verde Mediterraneo, so green Mediterranean. I've got gray, Scribble gray, and now we've added Blue Capri. And the fun part about these inks is that you can put the bottles one on top of the other because of the cavities. So just to show you a side view, there you have it. So you can kind of, pile them up one on top of the other. Beautiful bottles. That and Yuroshiseki or Yiroshizuku inks, their bottles are also very, very nice. So those are the 3 that I propose. And I will get everything set up. Now, first of all, in terms of the tools that I'm using, some of you asked, actually, let me just take a second. I'm going to pull out all of them. Now, I've got a bunch of stuff here. What I just wanted to show you a couple of things because I've received a couple of questions. So in terms of these folded nibs, okay, I have 3 of them. I have this one, which is the one I think is in between this one and this one here, which is much bigger. So I have got 3 of them. These 3 I originally purchased from Toronto Pen Company. So let me show you. And let me just go back to my computer here. Yeah, so Toronto Pen Company, there you have it. For a little while, they were no longer available. Now, they say sold out, you see. So I guess you got to check them out once in a while to see which ones are available. This is the one I'm using, I believe, right now, which is C, you see, and it says sold out. So as an alternative, I've been listing this John Neil Brooks as the place where to get these folded nibs. I also saw them on Etsy. So you can take a look at an Etsy, except Etsy I find $92, quite expensive. They look a little more elaborate. But those are 3 sources for you to take a look at should you be interested in purchasing these folded nibs. Okay, so that's that. The next thing I wanted to show you is, I don't think I've ever shown you these. These are what they call automatic pens. They're dip and usually done for, calligraphy experts. But what I propose, I'm going to try to write, actually, do I have the thinnest? Yeah. Yeah, this is the thinnest one. I'm going to try to write with this one. It looks like just a thicker stub. And we'll use this to actually write the swatch or write the ink on the swatches. Okay, so let me put that aside. Okay, put these aside for the time being. Now, do I have a cloth somewhere? Yes, I do. Apologies, here we go. Put that right there. Okay, so let's start with grigio scribo. So we'll do the gray. Should be kind of a grayish blue here. Big bottles. How many millimeters? 90. So, yeah, I got room here. Not a problem. You see, it's kind of a gray, but with some green-blue overtones. Very nice. I think, anyway. Let me just dip this thing and see how this thing works. If it works. If not, we'll change it up. So this is... Whoa. You know what? I can't use these things. So we're not going to bother with them. Sorry about that. I thought I'd show you something different, but didn't work out. So, scribo. And this is the grigio. Very nice ink, I gotta tell you. Very nice. Let's see if there's enough ink. No, I'm writing dry. I gotta tell you, that paper really felt good. Maybe I've discovered, I mean, with all the paper I have, you know, I said to myself, it was actually, I surprised myself that I did not have that notebook already in my, I thought I did, and I was just not using it, but when I checked, I didn't have it. So, okay, let's get to this one. This one should be kind of a green. Wow, that's tight. Okay. This is one of my favorite inks, I've got to tell you. This green Mediterranean, especially in my Pelikan M1000. Wow. Can you see that? Okay, on this paper it sings. So... Okay. So, again, this is... Can't write with these pens either because of that big ball there. Scribo. Verde. Trying to see how it's spelled. Very smooth paper. Wow. I've really been missing something, I think. Oh, didn't have enough there. Very nice. Hey, do you like that green? You'll be able to see it a little bit better once it dries up, but just fabulous green, kind of a bluish green ink. Looking forward to this one. This is Blue Capri, and as you guys may know, at least those of you who watch the channel regularly, these days I'm just in love with turquoise or lighter blue inks. Yeah, that's the blue of the Capri Sea. I mean, you guys should visit Capri. I like to go almost once a year. Best time to visit, actually, the island of Capri is at night. I know most tourists go in and out. They get in, visit the place, and then leave. But when everybody leaves, that's the best part, because the island just transforms itself. So this is scribble. Oh yeah, very nice. And at nighttime on the island, also what happens is that all the stars and the rich and famous kind of, they come out of their cocoon, and, you'll see them in restaurants, strolling in the shops, etc. So it's a completely different experience at nighttime, because the island is suddenly quiet, and see the sunset. Gorgeous. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous place. And just, maybe an hour away from Sorrento, where I was born. Okay, here we go. So those are the three inks. I got to tell you, folks, I am really impressed with this Traveller's paper. And I think I underestimated what it can do, but we'll do some writing with it as well. In the meantime, we'll allow all this to dry up on us, and we'll take a look at these three inks a little bit closer, and maybe ink a couple of pens just so that we can test how all this ink actually looks, or how it looks in actual pens. So there you have it. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. They're pretty well dry now. Let's take a look at this. The grigio scribo, which isn't that a beautiful color? It's kind of a dark, I don't know, I guess a gray green or a gray blue. Very, very nice. It's got some not sheening, but some variation. A little bit darker and a little bit lighter. The Verde Mediterraneo is just this deep, deep, deep green with some red sheen there. It comes out pretty well in this, actually, more than I expected. The Blue Capri is exactly that. It's Blue Capri. Very nice. It's got some sheening there, but I suspect you'll get more sheening on the Tomo River. But still, very nice. Let's see what it looks like on the other side. I mean, okay, it's to be accepted. The swatches have come through, but the writing itself is barely any ghosting. So it is a much thicker paper. Does it tell me how much? I think maybe in the little 64 pages, grid 5 by 5. It doesn't appear to tell me how thick the paper is, but I can assure you it's much, much thicker than this Tomo River. That's for sure. In the Tomo River, you can see the gray, kind of grayish green, grayish blue. It's got some variation with some red sheen there. You've got the red sheen on the Verde Mediterraneo, and you've got some red sheen on this Blue Capri as well. So there you have it. I think three absolutely gorgeous, very wet, very, I think, good flow. So these are some super, super inks. Really enjoy them. Now, I've inked 3 pens, but we'll take a look at those pens with these inks a little bit later on. Some of it in my pen haul, and I've got another 2 pens in my weapons for next week. So we'll take a look at that when the time comes. So there you have it. That's the ink swatching therapy for this week. And stay tuned for my writing instrument haul for this week and see what I've purchased. Be right back. Okay, we're back with the pen haul. First, sip of my cappuccino. That's good. Oh, by the way, I put that in my Amazon storefront. If anybody is interested in those nice espresso cups. Okay. What have I got for you? Well, first of all, I bought 2 pens. Okay. Or actually, one of them I received for review. And the other is, I figured I'd add another Kegeloo to my collection. It came in this little box, nothing fancy. In fact, it barely made the voyage, so to speak. But I don't recall them using this kind of packaging in the past. So this is kind of new. And the pen that I got is this one. I have a lot of Kegeloo pens, but they're the heavy ones. The original Kegeloo pens were kind of metal base and very heavy. But I don't have, I think I have a green one like this, and I figured I'd get a blue. And I love Kegeloo nibs. I think I've got another Kegeloo coming in with a fine nib. Realized all my Kegeloo pens have medium nibs that write like broad, as we shall see in a second. So this pen, I think, is gorgeous. And it cost me $25 Canadian. There you have it. These are the kind of the new nibs. They're a little more, better branding. The etching or the engraving is a lot nicer, I think. So let's just see how this pen writes. And we will use that Traveller's notebook. Let's see how that performs on this paper. By the way, I put in this one the Scribo Verde Mediterraneo as the ink in here. So, okay, so this is the Kegeloo. No, sorry. I think I put Capri. This looks like Capri. Yeah, it's a blue. It's the blue Capri that I put in here. Kegeloo. What is it? The 316. But it's kind of the new model. By new, I mean it's been, I think, a couple of years that it's been out. This lighter version of the Kegeloo 316, but it is the new version as opposed to the really old one. The nib is a number. Do you like that? Take a look at this. Number 6 steel Kegeloo. Medium. And it writes like a broad, folks. The paper is Traveller's. Is it apostrophe S? Yes, it is. Very nice. Amongst the best nibs on the market, folks. Kegeloo. And they go for really cheap. You can actually buy them separately. So I figured I add this. I think it's a nice pen. The resin is gorgeous. I'm not going to review this pen. I've reviewed Kegeloos before. It's got the branding on top. But for $23, you can get them in different colors. They also have the 356, but the 356 I find a little bit thinner and kind of more cheapish quality. The 316 I think is a much better version. It is a little bit, a kind of a dual fold design, but yet different. So very nice. So that's the first pen I got this week. The other pen I got this week is from my friends at Vazir. They often send me pens for review, and I really like their pens because they're not expensive. Got to me really quick. Here you go. It's just a stamp showing when I purchased the pen. Comes in this very nice box, and the pen is in this little kimono. Very nice touch, probably all hand stitched. Very nice kimono. There you have it. And here's the pen. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's gorgeous. It's got kind of a bigger top here. You see the girth on the cap? Which makes it a little bit different compared to, check out how big it is when you compare it to just like a duofold design. See that? If I can compare it to, let me see, I've got a couple of other pens here just to give you the size. Do I have my 149 somewhere along? No, I don't. This is the A23. Yeah, this is the A23, the Pilot, just to show you how much girthier it is. I think it's a beautiful pen. It's got a number 6 sized with a little bit the Vazir brand, which is like kind of a chess, the king of a chess game. It's a Yowo nib. It's a 1 point. No, is it a 1.1? No, a medium. It's a medium nib. I will be reviewing this pen. Sorry, a medium nib. Will be reviewing this pen, so I won't show you any more. But that's going to go in my list. Excellent. Thank you. Vazir, thank you very, very much. Next, in terms of rollerball, well, I didn't buy this pen, but it is a pen that I pull out. Last week I showed you a bunch of roller balls and ballpoints that I found in a box. And included in there is this Aurora. Aurora, and it says here Palazzo Birago. I don't know what that's all about, but it's an Aurora, and I realized because I pull out my Aurora Talentum, it's a Talentum model. This is of course, let me just see if this thing writes, just for the fun of it. Isn't that incredible? I have not used this pen in weeks, if not months. I think I haven't used it. Well, I don't want to. I think I have not used it since I reviewed it, frankly. Look at that. That's why I don't like Leonardo. If Leonardo would make their own nibs, and, I'm still trying to figure them out. Still not clear to me. The La Fenice nibs, 14 karat, are Yowo nibs, in my opinion. The 18 karat ones, I'm not sure. If they're made by Yowo with the specifications, but they're not in-house. This is in-house. This pen is worth the $300. I prefer to buy this one than any Leonardo because of the nib. And if you buy an Optima or even others at $500-600, you can't compare to, all these resins that Leonardo's coming out with. It's all the same pen. Delta, similar. I mean, Delta's got also this fixation, Mayora, the whole Nino Marino group. I've been telling Nino, please, you got to make in-house nibs, Nino. You got to make in-house nibs. But at least he's coming out with different models, special edition models, just in the Delta tradition. But, the others are just same pen, same nibs, different resin. It just doesn't interest me. I'm sorry, folks. Anyway, back to this rollerball. This is a Aurora. Wow, beautiful. Talentum rollerball. writes as smooth as a very smooth nib. So we'll put that in my week. I figure I didn't buy it, but I resurrected it from the dead. It's like buying it. I got to find out what this Palazzo Birago is all about. I wonder if this is kind of a pen that was part of a hotel or something. I bought this on Katawiki a long time ago, for part of an auction. But there you have it. So those are the 3 writing instruments that I purchased for this week. Now, what else have I got for you? Maybe we can deal with that right here. I did buy a bunch of, for all my roller balls, a bunch of Schmidt, Schmidt refills. Safety, they call them safety ceramic roller 888, but in the broad. So I got a bunch of these, and I'm going to put them in all the pens that I can fit these things in. I like to write with a broad roller ball as opposed to a fine or even a medium. Although I got to tell you, this medium with the Aurora was very smooth as well. But there you have it. So I bought a bunch of these, and we got to figure out where they fit, in which of those roller balls it fits in. What else? Oh, yeah, that's it. So, one thing I wanted to show you was last week I talked about this ink. Actually, these inks. This one, and where is it? Where is my Éclat de Saphir? And I got a lot of comments about these 2 inks. This Éclat de Saphir, as it turns out, I think it's a little dry. It dries really quickly. When it comes on paper, it looks great, and then it kind of dries off, And I thought this Vert Empire was a disaster. I really hated this ink. Why? Because I tested it with this pen. I don't know what's wrong with this pen. This is a P136 Majon with a 1.1 stub. Let me just see if it writes a little darker than... Yeah, do you see how light the ink is? It's okay. It's a little too light for me. So I wasn't going to use that ink ever again because of it. I know me. I just won't. And then I said, you know what? One of the viewers said, it's a drier ink. Why don't you put it in your Pelikan M1000 if you have one? And that's what I did, because usually the inks I put in here are so wet and the pen is so juicy. It's almost like a gusher because it has a broad nib. And take a look. Hopefully now it will show you the difference. Do you see the difference? Take a look at the 2 inks. So an ink can look different coming out of, different pen. And this is a broad. Isn't that nice? So now all of a sudden, this ink will become one of my favorites in this pen. Because if I put a wet ink in this pen, it's too much. It's a little too much. So I tried it as well in this Majon M600, this is the M800 with a K-glue nib. Okay, it's the same nib that I showed you in the other pen. So this is the Majon K-glue, medium nib. And it's kind of in between, in that P136, it comes out really light. In my Pelikan Broad M1000, much darker. And in my with a Kegeloo nib, it's kind of an in-between, both. So I just thought that was very interesting. It just goes to show you, you know, when you try an ink, you've got to try it with different paper and now different nibs. That's my conclusion. And this one, Éclat de Saphir, the Éclat de Saphir, I put in this Majon TI titanium 136 with that Kegeloo nib. And let's just go to the next page so we can get a... And when you write with it, so this is the Majon TI 136. This is the lemon hand-polished, beautiful nib, medium nib. One of my favorite pens because of it. Comes out really, really sharp, really royal blue, but then when it dries up, it fades. It becomes like a faded blue, which is okay, because when, you know, the writing experience is very nice with this, and I can see why Hemingway Jones really likes this this ink. But at the end of the day, I think the favorite one, my favorite one, ended up being this bleu pervenche, this lighter blue. I think is also very nice. We'll see it, I think, in one of the pens in my currently inked in just a few minutes. So anyway, I thought I'd share that little bit of tidbit for you. So that's it for my product haul for this week. So stay tuned and we'll be back with my next segment. Okay, so we're back with my next segment. We'll start with my currently inked. These were the pens that I had this week. And we'll take a look at them one by one and do some writing. And I'll tell you which ones I think I got the most kick out of. I wasn't able to use them all. Not this week, I wasn't. First of all, I really liked, I don't know if this thing's still going to write, but this is a knockoff that I found in that, you know, that drawer that I kind of put this pen away many years ago. This formed part of kind of a, you know, at the beginning when I started with fountain pens, I bought a bunch of Mont Blanc fakes. Sorry, but I just found it just astonishing that, you know, they were on sale. Big heavy steel, and this was one of them. But take a look at how it writes. I mean, this is amazing. Yeah, it's a fake. I'm sorry, folks. Don't scream at me. But I just wanted to show you how this thing is so smooth. It's one of the smoothest nibs, and it writes like a broad in my collection. Isn't that? Anyway, so I use this. I enjoyed myself with this thing. This was the EDC that I bought last week. I found this, got to do something about this nib, just because it's a little too fine for me. It writes like an extra fine. So this is the EDC. Don't get me wrong, it's a Schmidt nib, so nothing wrong with it. Mind you, it's writing really nice on this paper, but I find it writes like an extra fine, and it's a little too fine for me. So I found myself not using it very often this week. But otherwise, the pen is, I think all I have to do is maybe just open up those tines just a tiny bit, and I'll be okay. Of course, this is the Majon P140 that I reviewed last week. Oh, by the way, somebody told me that if you want to line them up, let's see if it works. One of the viewers said, line up opposite and then turn it. Well, not working with me. they said if you line it up it's not working with me. So I don't know. Doesn't matter. I don't care. So this is the Mahjong P140. And the ink in here is that Jacques Herbin Bleu Percheval. So look how nice that is. So it's got the Jacques Herbin ink. Again, an ink that comes down really wet but then dries quickly. But I love it. Very, very nice. And this is the, I'm going to call it the sister pen because it's got the same beautiful acrylic as that 140. But this is the Mahjong, because it was Mahjong week, you remember. This is the Mahjong C5, except it has a medium Mahjong nib. Okay, was it a medium Mahjong nib? Yeah. Not as thick as that medium on that number 8 size nib. I didn't write with this one. By the way, people, criticize this pen because it's badly designed and all. But I noticed that there is a new Diplomat X or XO or something that has the same kind of style. So this is the Mahjong. It writes beautifully. What is it? C1? I'm not going to venture. I forget. I didn't use it very much, though. This one is the Mahjong P139. I did not use either because I used instead, this is the orange. I used the white one. This one. Does it have ink? It should. This is the white. Same medium nib, but writes a lot better here because of the ink, I think. That kind of red, I think there's red ink in there. The red inks are, I'm beginning to say that red inks are problematic, at least the ones I have. They crust and dry up on you and can really ruin a nib. Well, we saw the Mahjong TI 136 that's had the Eclat de Saphir. This is my Schaefer Legacy, or one of the two that I bought at an auction. Somebody told me if you want to know how to spell Schaefer, it's Shea Stadium. So, I mean, this is supposed to write like a fine. It's supposed to be a fine nib. Wow. One of the smoothest nibs in my collection. Very, very nice. That's the Schaefer Legacy. I used it quite a bit this week. There we go. This was my red pen for the week, the C1. And again, you'll forgive me. Forget all these numbers. This is the Mahjong. I think this is the C1. It's a demo. And it's got a Bach fine nib. I'm starting to realize that in Bach nibs, the fine nib is my favorite. This paper is great, by the way. I'm going to get myself the whole kit. Yeah, definitely. I can see why people use this paper. And thank you to that viewer who suggested it. What else have I got? Oh, yes. The roller ball, does it? Yeah. That I used this week was the Mahjong B25. I think this is a medium. Just writes just beautifully. And this was one of the pens that I bought by mistake. In fact, one of the viewers saw it when I put it up on the screen in my order list. I meant to order the fountain pen, and I ended up ordering the rollerball, but no regrets. We'll get the fountain pen eventually. And this is the pencil. One viewer said he bought it and it was fine. Mine's all falls apart for some reason. What I like about it, it has that 3.0. Look at that, 3.0 lead. So this is the pencil with a 3.0 lead. Nice and big. So there you have the pencil. So there is my currently inked for this week, folks. Here you have it. Stay tuned and I'll show you what we're going to put in this case or in another case next week. Okay, what am I going to choose? Well, I've got 3 trays here, and let me explain to you what I'm going to be doing. The team, the soccer team, the Italian soccer team of Naples recently won the championship, and it totally slipped my mind. I wanted to ink up 1 week to commemorate their victory, all my, or at least 12 Neapolitan pens. In other words, 12 pens that I purchased and that are coming from Neapolitan-based fountain pen manufacturers or makers, if you will. It's actually going to be 11 because the roller ball that I'm going to use this week is this thing. This is the Aurora Talentum. So that's going to take a spot, unfortunately, or fortunately, because it's a beautiful roller ball. Now, what have I got here? I've got some deltas. I noticed I have a Joya there as well. So you know what? What are we going to choose? Well, we're going to choose, this is the Amalfi pen. So it comes close. I think I put blue Capri in there, so we're going to take that one. We're going to, what else have we got? Well, we've got to do this Dolce Vita Delta. This is the new Dolce Vita, though, not the old one. The old one is tucked away. That's my grail pen of all time. So we'll use this Dolce Vita 2.0, as they call it. I'll take my Delta Lex, my lawyer's pen as well. So 3 deltas. I think that's enough for Delta. We'll take this Partenope Joya pen from Joya. Joya being another Neapolitan manufacturer. So that's enough from that tray. What have I got from this tray? Well, this tray we got Leonardo, which is another Neapolitan. So I'll take this one. The Momento Zero Grande is going to go in there. I'll take my Furore because that's one of my favorite Leonardo pens. And I will take my Sorrento, Momento Zero Standard, Sorrento being where I was born. So we got 3 from Leonardo. Let's see what I've got underneath here. Okay. Well, we got some Majoras. I'm going to take, this is the Capri. So we'll take Capri. This is the Majora, I believe, Capri. This is another Majora, Posillipo. So that makes 2 Majolas. I had already one Joya. 2 more Joyas. Which one shall we take? These are Visconti, so they're not Neapolitan. This is a Montegrappa. I think I will take this one. Okay, that's the second Joya. And maybe a third Joya will be, yeah, we'll take this one here. Okay, so those are my Neapolitan pens for this week. Okay, so we're back with the pens or my weapons for this week. First weapon is this beautiful, just a beautiful Leonardo Furore, one of my favorite Leonardos, as it turns out. Maybe it's just because it doesn't look like a Memento Zero. So Leonardo Furore, I think it's Furore Grande. And this one has that that scribo or that grigio scribo ink. Isn't that nice? I think it's gorgeous. It's got a 1.1 stub, by the way, steel. Yo-wo, but very nice. So that's one. Next one is this Joya Alaria limited edition. Very nice. Take a look at that resin. Isn't that nice? I like Joya. I think they're really... it's too bad they don't come out with new pens, you know, very often. I forget what they call it, but it's a limited edition because of the color of the resin. And this has that scribo verde Mediterraneo. Okay, so that's another 1.1 stub, I believe. Nope, that's a broad. That's a broad. Speaking of Joya, just one more Joya. This is Capo di Monte. Very nice pen. This one has a medium nib. Very well tuned. Next one is a Maiora Posillipo. Again, Posillipo being kind of the upscale section of Naples, if you will, up on the hills, if you will. And this is the Maiora Posillipo. Was it two L's? I forget. It's a 1.5 stub, by the way, folks. Love that blue. Love that blue. I think that's Aurora turquoise, if I'm not mistaken. This one I showed it to you earlier. I thought it was a Capri. No, I think this is Amalfi. Something Amalfi. It's the Maiora Amalfi something or other, and I just forget. So this is the... Let me just push that up a little bit. Maiora. Oh, does it right? Yeah. I'll just call it Amalfi. What does it have? It's a 1.1 stub. Actually, this is my favorite Leonardo, as opposed to the Furore. Furore probably number 2, just because of this 1.5 La Fenice stub. So this is the Leonardo. Is it Stardust? It's Momento Zero Grande 2.0 anyway. But it has that La Fenice 1.5 stub, or La Fenice branded anyway, but it's a steel and it writes really nice. This is another Joya. This is the Joya Partenope. And what's nice about it is that I add the nib. It's a medium italic grind, especially grinded through Stilo Stile. They have different nibmeisters that can give you different grinds on pens. So that's what I did with that one. This one is the Delta Lex, Black Lex. This one has the Grigio, the Grigio Scribo. Delta Black Lex, because there's a white version of this pen. And it has the Scribo Grigio with that unique Delta Fusion stub, vintage stub nib. Writes beautifully. Okay, let's go here. This is the Delta Dolce Vita, or DV 2.0. So this is the modern Dolce Vita, and it's not even the big one. Okay, so this is the Delta DV 2.0. It has a Yowo 1.1 stub. Very nice. One of my first Neapolitan purchases, the Amalfi. This is the Magnifica, Delta Magnifica Amalfi. And it's got that Delta Fusion. This was the 14 karat nib. Very nice. Very nice. And last but not least, you've seen this one before. This is just my Aurora rollerball. So I have a rollerball in my repertoire. So here they are all together. Let me just show them all to you here. We will do this for my B-roll, or actually this is going to be my template for my video, as they say. Where is it? Here we go. Ah, perfect. Gonna have some fun. Neapolitan week at the Fountain Pen Therapy Studios. Stay tuned for the next segment. For my next segment, I've got a few questions, Q&A, for some of the viewers, so I thought I'd deal with those. Some of them are really interesting and gets me to do or to speak about some wonderful things. So stay tuned. Let me go to my overhead camera. Okay, so the first question that I found interesting was that one of the viewers complained of the fact that given the size of that nib, he or she wished that it was a little bit longer, you know, to kind of match the size of that nib. But what I pointed out to the viewer, then when I compared this Majon P140 to my Mont Blanc 149, first of all, you can see that the Majon is slightly bigger. If I uncap it, they are quite, comparable. In fact, I would say to you they're almost equivalent, the 149 and the Majon P140. So, nobody really complains about the 149, and yet this is a $60 pen. Let's put things into perspective. Speaking of $60 pens, I had another comment from another viewer. The comment went as follows, that the viewer enjoyed this pen tremendously, and at the end said, the nib is such a smooth writer, and it has a little bit of a springy feel to it that you can only find in pens that are 10 times the price. And I understood what he was saying, and I answered back by saying that I totally agreed. And we then got a response. Let me just get to it. So after I agreed, there is another response from somebody else, or another reply, and says, "Hi there. Are you actually saying this pen is on the same level as a luxury piston filler with a gold nib?" And I answered back and I said, absolutely. You have pens that cost 10 times more with Yowo nibs or Yowo gold nibs that are not any better than this one. And then that viewer kind of agreed and said, it's just amazing how the Chinese pens have taken it to the next level. And yes, I agree. If you look at this pen, I think it's about $60 Canadian. I have here, another demonstrator, kind of a similar looking pen. This is an Ogaiva, Omas Ogaiva modern demo, but this is $600 Canadian. Now, it does have a 14 karat gold nib, and these Omas nibs are really nice, but put it next to it. This thing has got nothing to be ashamed of. By the way, I understand that the piston in the 149 may actually be plastic. It may not be the brass piston that you see here. Let me show you another pen. And I'll go to my computer just to demonstrate this. This is the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande Nuda. And it's being sold at PenVenture for 520 euros. That translates into approximately $800 Canadian. I don't think, and it's got a 14 karat gold nib, and those 14 karat gold nibs from Yowo are not outstanding nibs, in my view. I don't think that this, Majon P140 is anything to be ashamed of when I compare it to this Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. I really don't. Now, this has a nice branding. It has a similar band. It appears to have a brass piston. It's a demonstrator pen. Keep in mind, if I go back to that a Momento Zero Grande, this is the size of the Momento Zero Grande. So, very similar size, if you will. Okay? So, you know what? When I say that this nib is got nothing to be ashamed of, absolutely. Let me just demonstrate to you with a 14 karat Yowo nib writes how it writes. Okay, here we go. This is a 14 karat Yowo nib that I have in one of these pens. Okay, and so this is a Yowo 14K. It's a stub, fairly smooth, has no bounce at all. Okay, it is fairly stiff. When I compare it to my Majon, I gotta tell you, very, very, very little difference. It's just as smooth, just as consistent and wet. Okay. And it's got more of a bounce. Don't get me wrong, it's not springy, but or flexy, but it's got a bounce. Now, this is a 14 karat Omas nib. So this is the Omas Ogaiva demo. It is a fine, but it's fairly stiff. Now this is $60. This is $600. And, you know, if I'm going to get that Leonardo with this 14 karat nib, I'm talking $800. Now, how can you go wrong? You know, so that's, so that was my answer. That's, look, you can get 14 karat nib, you know, any Leonardo with a 14 karat nib. From what I remember, you're talking $500, you know. So is it worth $500? Perhaps. But is this Majon P140 worth it? I think it is. I really, really, truly think it is. So anyway, I thought that was interesting in terms of get a point of view out. So there you have it, just a short Q&A. I just thought two questions that were very, very pertinent, and thought I'd share those thoughts with you, just to, you know, give it a different twist, so to speak. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. There's no right and wrong answer. It's just that he's right. These Chinese pens have really taken off. They're really taken off. We're talking, right now they're at a very different level. So there you have it. So let's go to my next section, or next segment, which is YouTube reviews. I'll be right back. In terms of YouTube reviews, I've got three videos that I thought were very, very interesting that I would recommend you watching. The first one is from my friend Hemingway Jones. He got this beautiful Yardo lead pen. Gorgeous. I think there's a lot of sterling silver in that pen. Vintage kind of look. And he reviewed the pen. He reviewed the history of Yardo lead, as he usually does, with a nice backdrop. There's some manor or some special, you know, an older home. I forget the name of the exact name of the, I think it's the Crane Estate. That's right, the Crane Estate. In somewhere in the eastern United States, near where he resides, and in the backdrop, you know, there's this beautiful estate, and it's just, that pen is gorgeous. So I recommend the viewing. So there you have it. The next review is from my French friend Fondé des Plumes. He has reviewed the Leonardo Alumnia GT. It's on my list. I'm very curious. I think that the only thing that's holding me back is the fact that it is a simple Momento Zero. It's not a Momento Zero Grande, just a Momento Zero. And I understand why, because there's quite a bit of heft there. So I guess if you put all that weight in a Momento Zero Grande, then you get a ridiculously heavy pen. But it looks like it's a nice pen. But again, you know, a La Fenice nib, 14 karat. It's La Fenice branded nib, but it's a Yowo nib that I just showed you, essentially, just with, you know, prettier branding, if you will. So there you have that. And then there's Teresa Harris, who's reviewed the Majon P140. She does a comparison with the P139, which I found was very, very interesting. So those are the three videos that I recommend for this week. In terms of my own channel, well, as you know, we reviewed the P140, so that's something that I invite you to take a look at in the event that you haven't yet. There's, of course, my recap of last week. These recaps can be viewed at any time. Yes, the first segment, which deals with what's new in the market, is pretty punctual. It's a question of, you know, the date, that I'm reviewing it. So it's what's been in the market that week. But the rest is can be consumed at any time. So if you're a first-time viewer and this is the first recap, I invite you to take a look at the previous recaps. There might be something there of interest for you, either in terms of pens, paper, or inks. So there you have that. And here is just a sampling of the videos that have yet to be published and that I plan to publish sometime soon. This week I might give some priority to the Vasier pen that I just showed you in this recap. So stay tuned for that. So there you have it. Thank you very, very much again for joining me. That is the recap for June the 7th, 2025. Please subscribe. If you've gotten this far, as they say, then please subscribe. Just click if you like it. Ring that bell. If you don't like it, let me know why. And I want to get my subscriptions up. So if you will, a lot of work in these videos. You can enjoy them, and you get a notification when my videos are published. There's absolutely no money involved here. There's some people think that if you subscribe, you're committing to some monetary price. There is none. There is none. Not at least not here. And so there you have it. Thank you very much. Grazie molto. Enjoy your pens, your paper, your inks, and have a great week.